visions of a weird and wonderful future. Hundreds of sci-fi novels carry his artwork on the front cover. His concept art has been used in some of the biggest Hollywood blockbusters over decades. The work of sci-fi legend and Guernseyman Chris Foss, although as it turns out, he's not that into sci-fi himself.
Some of the best paintings here are Asimov's.
Yes,
and
exactly.
my best art director, best one, who was intuitive, gave me the best advice, which is what you want from an art director, used to phone me up and he'd say, Chris, we need another Asimov. And I said, oh, right, Steve, that's nice because it's money in the bank, you know. What do you want? Well, I know you don't read the books, Chris, so the last one was green. Give me a blue one. And that would be the brief.
Chris spoke here recently where this exhibition of his work is on at Candy Museum. I think this is my favourite one. If you're a sci-fi fan at all like me, you'll know the great science fiction novel Dune. And in this we have one of Dune's spice ships flying overhead over some German fortifications on the Guernsey coast. It's a combination that could only be Chris Foss. And Dune is really how it all started for Chris Foss. Before Star Wars or Alien, it was a major film project that included Salvador Dali and Orson Welles in its cast, as well as some of the greatest artists and designers of the time, artists which included Chris, all led by visionary director Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Cada navío espacial era un ser, como un insecto, como un ave maravillosa. That was the spaceship I wanted. Foss, I knew him in the cover of science fiction books. Eran navíos con alma, como seres.
It's only all these years later that you realise just what a fundamental inspiration he was to me. I think, in fairness, he almost created the base of material which has kept me alive to this day.
But Dune was ultimately doomed. The project ran out of money and was binned, though it's now the subject of an award-winning documentary and described as the greatest film never made. And it would give Chris the springboard to work on other films that were made, the first Superman film, Alien, and most recently Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Perhaps the most famous director Chris ever worked with was the late Stanley Kubrick. Chris describes Kubrick as an inspiration, but not one he always got along with.
Every time I was doing something in a painting, he would say, that's not working. And I say, that is the best bit of the painting, Stanley. And in fact, Stanley and I was insanely well paid, which is what kept you there. But it was a horrible regime. And finally, I'd had it up to here. And one day he came in, he said, that is not working. And I said, I'm the only person who ever said this to the great man. I said, Stanley, it's not working because the idea's no good, the concept's no good, and it's impossible to do anything with it.
Now, if you're not like me and all of that sci-fi stuff just makes your eyes glaze over, there's one other work you may be familiar with. It was a book and it was a huge seller in the 70s. It was described as a guide to lovemaking, and it was called The Joy of Sex, with illustrations by Chris Foss.
A lot of people on this planet with names that makes you realise the Christian name, they're of that era and possibly are here because of The Joy of Sex.
And did you think the book would take off in the way that it did?
Completely and utterly astonished. I did it as a bit of a lark, and I got it because of all my penthouse work. Some of the other artists at the agency were all sniffing, oh, we wouldn't do something like, well, they would if they knew what sort of money it was. We did it, and the book came out, and within a month had made £1 million, which is more like $1 billion now.
Chris Foss has become a cult hero for sci-fi and cinema fans worldwide, a prolific artist with a unique style and one of Guernsey's great creative talents. Rob Moore, ITV News.